الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. I start by the name of Allah, seeking the reward from Allah and from Allah alone. I thank and I praise Allah for all of the endowments, all of the blessings that Allah has given without Allah being obligated to give anything. There is nothing that is due upon Allah. There is no one that orders Allah. He gives what He gives to us by His will, with His power, mercifully, alhamdulillah. And humbly I ask Allah to raise the rank, raise the status of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Inshallah, we will continue to review from the text of the immediate knowledge. This text, the immediate knowledge, which is a portion of the obligatory knowledge, a portion of that knowledge that each Muslim is accountable to learn, accountable to know. And it is that part of the obligatory knowledge that is necessary for the Muslim to know right away. Like, for example, one who recently embraced Islam, maybe within the hour. This Muslim must know about Allah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The last time that we were together, we discussed that there are attributes of Allah that each person must know. And we said that there are countless, innumerable attributes of Allah, but that the scholars mention 13, which each one must know. It's an obligation upon him. And he knows it. It said to him about these attributes, and he would not deny them or attribute their opposite to Allah. And we mentioned that these attributes that one must know, just briefly, we'll just say them again, that they are existence, that Allah exists without a doubt, and His existence is eternal and everlasting, without a beginning, and it does not come to an end. It is a necessary existence. And that Allah is one. He does not have a partner with Him in His dominion. He does not have one that is similar to Him. He's not one that is composed of parts. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And Allah is attributed with life. Like all of His attributes, His life is not like our life. And Allah does not resemble His creations in any way whatsoever. Allah is not like His creations at all. And we mean this categorically. We mean this completely. Allah is not like his creations. He is eternal without a beginning. And all of the creations, they have a beginning. Allah existed and nothing else existed, and all of the creations are not like that. Allah is not similar to his creations in any way. So we don't say the trick, we don't play the trick that some of the people who liken Allah to the creation play. They will say, for example, that Allah is not like his creation. And what they mean by that is that Allah is not exactly like his creation, but there are certain similarities, or they will say that Allah has a body part, for example, but it's not like your body part, or it has a how, but we don't know the how. No. The Muslims believe the truth that Allah, the Creator, is not like his creation in any way whatsoever. And Allah is not in need of anything. Allah existed and nothing else existed, and he exists now as he always existed. God does not change. What is eternal does not change. Change is a clear indication that a thing is a creation. And Allah is attributed with hearing and sight. And Allah hears all of the things that are heard. He sees all of the things that are seen. And his hearing, his attributes of hearing and sight, these are not things that happen to Allah. Rather, these, like all of his attributes, are his eternal attributes. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And Allah is attributed with knowledge. Allah knows everything that has happened, everything that will happen. All the things that are happening, Allah knows. Nothing is hidden from Allah. And his knowledge, you see, there is an agreement in the term that is used, because you have knowledge about some things. But the meaning is not the same at all. You, me, our knowledge, it is something that comes to us. We are born without any knowledge. We don't know anything, subhanAllah, and our knowledge grows. We learn, it grows. It is a change that occurs within us. Allah does not change. Nothing is hidden from Allah. And Allah is attributed with power. It is his perfect attribute. By his power, he brings things into existence. He makes something that does not exist. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And by his power, he makes things that exist no longer exist. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And no one has the power to create except Allah. No one except Allah has this power by which he brings things into existence. He creates except Allah. And Allah is attributed with will. The things that Allah brings into existence, the things that Allah gives, the things that Allah takes away, he does this by his will. It is his attribute by which he specifies the different mental possibilities with certain attributes that they might have instead of other attributes that they might have. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And Allah is attributed with His kalam, His speech. And like all of His attributes, it is not an attribute that is similar to what is created. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And it is important to know, as the author mentioned, about the prophets of Allah. Throughout time, throughout history, Allah has sent prophets. The first of the prophets was Prophet Adam, alayhi salatu wasalam. And Prophet Adam, like all of the prophets, he was the first of the men. And he came with bearing the message from Allah. He ordered his family, and he ordered those humans with obedience to Allah. That there is no God but Allah. That there is no creator except Allah. That Allah does not resemble His creations, as all of the Muslims believe. And He was a handsome man with a beautiful voice, with knowledge of the names of different things. It is not like some might say that the human being came from a monkey and ate bananas and things like that. Subhanallah. It's not true. Adam, alayhi salatu wasalam, he was a prophet, and the best of the men, the best of creations are prophets. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And these prophets, all of them, they have certain characteristics. Among them, that the prophets of God, these are handsome men, they are truthful men. There are men who are trustworthy. The prophets of God come with miracles, which are extraordinary things that happen from them, that are in accordance, they prove their claim of prophethood. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So the first of the prophets was Prophet Adam, alayhi salatu wasalam. And what a blessing that the first of the humans, the father of the humans, was a prophet of Allah. How merciful is Allah. The people were not on the earth, the people were not created without a prophet informing them of what are the things that are good for them. What are the obligations that they must perform? What are the things that they must avoid? Alhamdulillah. And the last of the prophets and the greatest of the prophets was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And his rules, his sharia, his rules, and his call is the call from his time until Judgment Day that will come. And his rules, his sharia, what he calls for is what is best for the people, what is best for the humans. He came with revelation from Allah. And Allah knows us even better than we know ourselves. Allah knows what is best for us better than we know what is in our best interest. And all of these prophets, they have a mission to convey the commands of Allah and guiding the people to what is best for them. And all of them, they have certain qualities which help them to fulfill their mission. Among those qualities, the attributes about them, that never do they lie. And they are protected from this from the time that they are babies, small, all the way up until the time of their passing, their death. And they are impeccable, they are protected, they will never commit any of the major sins. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And they are protected from committing any of the small, abject sins that show a lowliness of character, a meanness to them. Alhamdulillah. And the prophets of Allah never worship anything besides Allah. They never worship anyone other than Allah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And this is their case, even if their father was not a Muslim. Even if among them was one, or there was a prophet whose father was even a carver, a builder of the idols that the unrightful ones worship. But never did any prophet of Allah worship other than Allah. Alhamdulillah. And the prophets, they perform miracles. Allah gives them these miracles. MashaAllah. And these miracles are these certain extraordinary things that occur from their hands of the one who claims, he says about himself that he is a prophet. And these miracles of the prophet, they comply with their claim, and it's not something that can be outdone or matched by one who wants to disprove them. Subhanallah. And there are many different miracles of the prophets. And this, it shows about this person that this one is truthful in his claim. Among the miracles that may occur from a prophet is like Prophet Musa, alayhi salatu wassalam, whose staff, the stick that he would carry, turned into a serpent, like a snake, with like a mane. And it was huge. And it would gobble huge stones and things of the like. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And this happened for him during a time when the people there was a lot of the magic that went on. And mashallah, he performed this miracle, and they gathered around, and no one could do something similar to what he did. In fact, they threw theirs and it turned to things that wiggled around, and his would devour theirs. MashaAllah. they recognize what this one is doing is it's not magic like what we were doing. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Among the miracles of the Prophet is the splitting of the moon. MashaAllah. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was challenged with this. He pointed at the moon split in half, MashaAllah. And there are many, many, many stories of the miracles of the prophets of Allah. And would you imagine that there are those who would see these great miracles and still they would not believe in what these prophets came with? MashaAllah. Allah did not give them Islam. Although they saw with their eyes the miracles of the prophets. Although they heard the call to Islam from these very, very beautiful appearing, eloquent speaking prophets of Allah. They rejected. Yet, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, we sit here far from the lands of these great prophets, not having seen them ourselves, not seeing with our own eyes any of the miracles of the prophets. But Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Allah has given us Islam. What a blessing from Allah. Alhamdulillah. May Allah preserve for us our Islam. May Allah allow us to be people who are able to see the truth as the truth and to be attached to it. And may Allah make us people who are guided and are not misguided, nor ones who misguide others. And may Allah allow us to be those who are able to see the falsehood as falsehood and to be far, far away from it. Amen. So some of the prophets were messengers. And this means that these messengers were prophets who came with a new law. So the belief of the prophets, the belief in God, the belief in Allah of all of the prophets, it's the same. Their call is the same. They inform their people of Allah, that Allah alone deserves to be worshipped. That Allah is not like His creations, that Allah is powerful, has the power over everything. Alhamdulillah. All of the prophets call their people to worship Allah alone. That doesn't change. But what might change is some of the rules of one of the prophets might be different from something that comes later. For example, during the time of Prophet Adam, and his Sharia, his rules, it was permissible. They had no choice. It was permissible for a man to marry his sister, but not his sister from the same birth. That law has changed. Now it's not permissible for one to marry his sister. Alhamdulillah. So the rules may change, but the belief is the same. As for us, we follow the laws that were revealed to Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we believe in what was revealed to all of the prophets, and what they came with was correct. Is this clear? Alhamdulillah. So continuing, the accountable Muslim, they must pray all of their prayers on time. So at different times of the day, the Muslim, he has to perform his prayers in time. And since this is the case immediately, when one embraces Islam, he needs to learn the prayer. And not only the prayer, but also some of its conditions. Among the things that he must learn is the matters of purification. Because for him to pray, he must be in a state of purification. And there are different matters that he must learn. The first is the ghusl, or the bath, or the shower. And know that there are 5 reasons, there are 5 things by which he must take a ghusl, a shower, a full shower, a bath. And those reasons are 2 of them are for both men and for women. So, whether it's a man or a woman, they had the sexual intercourse. Or even if they didn't have the sexual intercourse, but for whatever reason, they ejaculated. You know what this is, the ejaculation. MashaAllah. So for either of those states, this makes a person in a state of Hadath Akbar, a major ritual impurity. And there are 3 that are only for the woman. If she gives childbirth, or the emptying of her womb. So even if it wasn't childbirth, but she had a miscarriage, for example, or the like, or if her menstruation stopped, or her postpartum bleeding. By this, she would need the ghusl. A second situation when she would need, or when he would need to make wudu. And the wudu is to wash certain organs, like his face, his hands up to and including his elbows, a portion of his head, and his feet, up to and including the ankles. And there are 4 things that break his wudu. So you would need to make wudu if one of these 4 things happen. If something exited from his private parts besides the ejaculation. So like the urine, the feces, for example. Or if one touched the skin of a marriageable woman. And for the woman, if she touched the skin of the marriageable man. And whoever does the touching, the skin touches and the wudu is needed. Also, touching the penis, the anus, or the vagina with the inner part of the bare hand. And when we talk about the inner part of the bare hand, what we mean here is if you were to take your right hand and your left hand and you put them together, maybe you press a little bit. All that area that is taken up that you don't see any longer, this is the inner part of your bare hand. So if that touched a penis, an anus, a vagina, then this would make the wudu necessary. And another is losing consciousness. So he goes to sleep. Or he's knocked out, whatever the case may be. If one lost consciousness, yes, then he would need to make wudu. An exception to that is if one fell asleep, but his buttocks were firmly pressed. We sitting, I'm like we sitting there. And the floor was up against your buttocks to the point where if you fell asleep like this, the wind couldn't even come out of it. And you woke up like that, your wudu was still intact. Is that clear? The way that one makes wudu is by doing 6 things. He has his intention in his heart that he's performing this wudu. He's making himself, for example, pure so that he can pray, for example. Or he's making this obligatory wudu. And he washes his face with the water. He washes his hands, his forearms, and his elbows. He wipes the hair. He washes his feet and his ankles. And he does that keeping that order. Just like that. That's good? Yeah. So, right now, what we're doing right now is talking about the obligation. So if he did what we talked about, he fulfilled his obligation. But yes, it's good for him that he would wash his ears. He does this as he's washing his head. So like this, he's wiping his head, he does like that. And that's what's best. It's better. Alhamdulillah. So the third matter is istinja. And what istinja is the obligatory cleaning after anything wet comes from the private parts. So like if he urinated, or he what's the other word? Fecal discharge, like, urinated and defecated. So if he did one of those 2 things, he has to perform istinja. And it can be performed in 2 ways. The first way is with water. So he take the area, get some water. Maybe he got one of those, the flower pot thing. And he pours that on that area, and it's gone, and then he's good, he's done that. Another way is that he can wipe at least 3 times with something that is dry, uprooting, solid, and unrespectable, like the toilet paper. So he used that, he wiped at least 3 times, making sure that area is clean, so it come out white, for example. And alhamdulillah, he's completed that. That's clear. And the fourth matter, talking about purification, the fourth matter of purification is the removal of filth from the body, his clothes, his clothing, and the place of the prayer. So there are certain things that are filth, and not just filthy, like the blood, whether it's your blood or somebody else's blood, or even if it's an animal's blood, for example. Blood is filthy. You cannot perform the prayer with blood that's like on the body, on your clothes, or in the place that you're going to pray. Other examples like feces is not just filthy, it's filth. Or urine, or the pus, like the pus that comes out of sores, for example. These things are filthy. Another example is something that is not just filthy, according to Imam Shafi, is the alcohol. These are filthy things. So if a person had that on his body, on his clothes, or his place of prayer, his prayer wouldn't be valid, it wouldn't be pure for him, so he can't perform the prayer like that. So maybe he's a doctor, a phlebotomist, and he got his white coat on, and in his pocket is some blood that's got to be tested or whatever. For him to pray, he had to either take that jacket off so he's not carrying that blood, or take it out of his pocket. And when we say his body, that's clear what we mean by that, on his body. When we say the clothes, we're talking about what he's carrying in his pockets or stained his jacket or whatever. And when we say the place of prayer, we mean the place where his body will make contact with the ground that he's praying. Like where your feet will be, where your hands will be when you're in sujood, where your head will be while you're in sujood, where your knees are at. That area cannot have not just filthy matters on them. That's clear? So inshallah, the next time that we're together, we'll talk about the prayer itself and other matters, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullahu khairan. And with that, tahleel wa salah ala nabi. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.